Hi there. Sometimes I have tasks to compose the building into drone footage, and what's very important to sell this effect is to create a nice shadow that casted by that building. So today we're gonna do exactly that. It requires some camera tracking, nothing fancy, and I also have my building prepared. So let's do it. Alright, so here we are in Fusion, and on the top here I have footage. Let me quickly show you. So like this. And my plan is to put here the building, which is this one. I just imported here the model. I simply in Max selected the building and file, export, select it as Alembic, save and done. And here in Fusion, file, import Alembic scene and pick the file. So this is my starting point. And first of all, of course, we have to track the camera. Let's quickly do that. So camera tracking, camera tracker. And plug our footage. So I have no idea what are the specs of this camera, so I'll just keep it by default in the camera tab. In the tracking tab, of course, preview auto tracks, and let's give it a bit more. So here you setting up how dense the points are gonna be. Be careful to if you put too low the threshold, it might just stuck. So just keep it reasonable numbers. Bidirectional tracking also improves the result, and I think we're ready. So auto track. Let's wait. So this process is not camera tracking itself. It's a kind of pre-processing. The tracker trying to find the features of the footage that could be tracked later. So we're going to the solve tab and just hitting solve. So now the actual tracking process is running. That might take some time. Okay, that was quite quick, and the number we are looking at here, solve error 0.2, almost 0.3. If it's below 1, you can count as a good tracking, but of course it can be better than, let's say, 0.9. So this is the good number, and we also can improve it even further. If I apply track selection filters, automatically selected bad trackers. So if you check here, it colorizing it in red, by the way. And yeah, so if you click on this or just hover the bad tracker, it will tell you solve error average 3.22. So that's a bad tracker, and applying filter, it selects that. I'm deleting those and solving again. So look at this number, 0.27. It should be better now, should be lower, hopefully. Yeah, slightly lower. Okay, I'm satisfied with this result, and we are ready to export our camera. So export, done. This is the export result from the camera tracker. That's a 3D scene, so we are checking that in the viewport, and it comes quite small, the scale, but if you click on the point cloud node and hit F, it will realign the viewport, and it will be much more convenient to use. Usually I remove ground plane I never use it, to be honest, and I'm disabling the grid of the viewport. So if I hit play, you see how camera is moving through the space, and each point is attached to some surfaces on the footage. Having this, we were able to select one of the points and create a helper object. So that helper object will help us to position our CG building there. So let me pick the point. From the perspective view, actually no, let's stay in the camera view, and in the second window I'm gonna select something. So let me smaller the size. So I need to pick a point that is belonging to this area, because I want to put there my building. So yeah, I can select that one, and what I need to do is just to create a helper object. I can create a plane. So if I hit here, it will create a plane for me right at the center of that point. So having this surface, I can manipulate it, and yeah, in the node system it created the few nodes. And so the image plane itself, the merge node, and both are connected to the point cloud. You can keep as is, but I usually just connecting directly to the merge 3D node, and I don't need this merge. And in having this image plane, I can rotate that by just manipulating here the numbers. Yeah, for creating the shadow, we need to have a surface where that shadow will be visible. So let me position that plane somewhere here and rotate it a bit, something like that, and maybe make it bigger. Let's quickly see if it's sticking to the surface or not. More or less. Okay, I think it's good track. So let's create another helper. So this helper will serve us the base for our shadow, and another one I want to create for my building. So I'm selecting another point, same area. I can unplug my image plane for now. Let's say this point. Yeah, and this time I will create a box, and yeah, again it jumped somewhere here, adjusting the position. So I'm deleting this default merge 3D and plugging directly to the merge 3D node. Let me move this point cloud somewhere. So this helper will help us to position the building, and we actually already can do that. And here's the thing we have to remember, that when we plug the building into the scene, the building comes from the 3ds Max Super Big, so it's quite large, and we have to adjust everything according to that building. So to make that possible, I'm creating another merge 3D node. And I move my building, which is this model, and plug in it to the new merge 3D. So here I'm checking both the new tracked camera, the point cloud, and as you can see, the difference in the size is, is huge. I'm going to create a transform node. Actually, no, I can do that through the merge 3D. So I'm selecting merge 3D node, and I can simply in the transform tab here increase the size, let's say to 200. That's not enough, maybe 1000, and let's see, more or less. Yeah, so if you remember, we created this helper box, so it's there. So our building should stand somewhere here. Let me make this helper a little bit bigger. Yeah, like this. And maybe we should enlarge the scale more. Meanwhile, we can see the result already in the viewport. So here is the rendering node that's been created automatically after the tracking process, and it's at the end of the whole chain. So I'm checking that here, and now the camera is looking directly at the front facade. It means that I'm going to rotate the whole scene around the building like this. And move something like this, finding the ground position, ground level. So I'm aligning my building with the helper object. I think the scale is still off, so let's fix that. The rotation is more or less there. Oops. I deselected the merge, select again, just to move everything together. And yeah, let's adjust the scale, so maybe 2000, maybe 2.5, more or less. It's quite hard to see without any shadows visible here. I mean, it's just a white spot. To see the shape of the building, I'm gonna create some lights. So maybe directional light that imitates the sun, and I'm gonna plug it in here. Yeah, and to be able to see it when it's rendered in the rendering node, I'm enabling lighting and shadows. Actually, lighting is enough. Yeah, just slightly rotate the light. Oh, come on. Okay, and I think this helper object I can unplug, and my building is here. So again, merge 3D node, slightly moving, adjusting the position, maybe a little further. All right, now I think it's a bit better. So I think I found the more or less scale and position. Yeah, all right, so let's move forward. So having our building here, we have a proper scale. Now we can make a shadow. So I'm having this helper plane, if you remember, I created at the beginning, and I'm gonna put it somewhere, somehow in the middle of the scene here. And the next step would be to project our footage on that plane. So let me show you what I mean. For now, I can unplug my point cloud because I don't need to see the points anymore. This helper also can move. Okay. I have my image plane, and I can convert my camera into projector. So by default, it's locked, and you can unlock, and the image tab, enable image plane, disabling that, so the background is gone, but that's okay. And we go to projection tab and enabling the camera projection. So as you can see, the footage projected on that plane. And what I want to see in the rendering node is this. So I'm gonna copy this rendering node, paste it next to it, and I'm skipping the light scene and the building, so this part I don't need that. I only need this part, plugging it here, and this is how it looks right now. But I want this to be converted into UV renderer, and it will create ortho view, like if we would have camera looking downwards from the top. And if I click play, it looks weird. So what is happening here? Everything is stretching around, but this is actually good because this exactly what we need for making a shadow. And I think this plane can be a bit adjusted in the position. So my goal is to have this shadow, existing shadow, to not move, or move as less as possible. That would be the ground plane. If I move my surface down, it might help, I think. It slightly helped, right? So if you remember, our building is standing on that lawn, that green part. So it will cast shadow approximately here. And now I just can create a color correction node, plug it after the rendering, and check in this window, and draw a mask. So let's draw a mask. I select the color correction node, draw a mask, polygon mask, and let's roughly paint it like this. I'm disabling the animation of the polygons, of the polygon, and changing this location just to have a contrast color, just to see the result. Let's say this is the shadow we want, and now the process next would look like this. Excuse me, I have to interrupt the video. I had some technical issues. Let me record this part so everything will be clear later on. So we have our camera. In the camera options, we have an enabled image plane option disabled, and in projection tab, enable projection, and also in projection mode change to texture. Later in the image plane we have to plug the catcher node, and these are all the differences. You can continue to watch the original video. Sorry and thank you. Alright, so we have area painted like this, just temporary. So next step would be we're gonna copy this image plane we created previously. So Control C, Control V. The result of this rendering of this orange area will be used as a texture of that image plane. So just drag and plug to the green, and it will be stretched image used as a texture here. So what's left is just to create 3D merge node. Plug our surface and reuse the same camera like this, and let's render this out. So render 3D. If you play it, you see how we have surface with sticking drone area there, that orange plane. And now we can check that with the background. So this is my footage node. This is, by the way, the camera tracking tracker node, so we can unplug, disable, delete. We don't need that anymore. And I move my footage up there, and so this is the result. This is the rendering from the camera. I'm plugging that to the footage. If I output from the square shape output and drop it, holding that and drop it on the output of the footage, it will create automatically the merge node. So this merge node created, and my footage now is the background, yellow input. This result is the foreground. So let's see them together. If you play, you see how they nicely matching together. Because of the rendering process, how it's processed by the engine here in Fusion, it's a bit blurred, this area. So let me disable, enable. We can a bit improve that output. So if you go to the rendering node and in the rendering type switch to hardware, it became a bit more, even more blur. But in the anti-aliasing area, we can go to the anti-aliasing presets and change the type to, I don't remember which one was that, but cut more on a bit more sharper. Lankosh, maybe Mitchell. Yeah, I think that was Catmull. And yeah, tweaking the width also helping. So I reduced it to almost 0, and now it's much better blending between original footage and the new piece of geometry we have here. So now we are free to modify our shadow. Of course, I'm gonna need the building to see this distance to understand how wide it is. But for now, let's just adjust the color a bit and the shape, position, something like this. So in the color correction, I'm resetting all the changes and trying to achieve the similarities between shadow on the footage and mine. This area, of course, where two shadows are intersecting, should be excluded. And the best way I've found so far is just to manually create a mask, and it's not perfect, I know, but that's a more or less working way. So let's adjust this shadow. I think it should be dark, should be a little bit darker, maybe. And the color is different, so I'm reducing the red, maybe adding slightly green, maybe not. Yeah, let's blur the edges first. Yeah, so it blends a bit more. So now it's tweaking process of this shadow. All right, I reached some point where I can start to remove this shadow existing on the footage. But the whole process, I think it's clear for you how it works. So I'm creating a new polygon mask, and they both are connected. Drawing to exclude this area. And here in the settings, we should find the proper mode. So subtraction works, and we can soften the edges so they blend better, like this. And I think this bright shape also should be in shadow, but I excluded it. Should be included, yeah. Okay, if I hit play, it's not bad. Let's see in the viewport. But of course, should be refined. For example, at the beginning here it's not working together. All right. Yeah, it works nice, I think. And what we also can do, maybe add slightly the film grain to it. So film grain, and adding that after color correction. Of course, it's added to the whole surface, so we could try to use it as a mask. So this one, oh, yep, it works. So only this area now, and the size is smaller. So we're bringing back those imperfections of the footage. So the shadow is there. What is left is to render our building and comp it back here, and it's gonna work together. So thank you for your attention, and ready to answer any questions. I will not do the part with the building. It's already a long tutorial, so it's a different topic a bit. So we'll just stop on the shadow today. Thank you.